Howdy, everyone. Or perhaps no one, most likely no one. Today, I'm going to kick off a Let's Play, potentially to Sleep 2 series about playing Subway Builder. Why did I decide to do this is a good question, but I think actually for me it makes quite a bit of sense. I figured out that just by doing this as a demo run, um, seeing how it would actually be to be a YouTuber and kind of think, you have to think out loud, right? It's when you're playing these games. I came to the realization listening to the playback of the first round that I tried on New York, and it's actually just quite difficult to think out loud. It's quite a skill, and the ability to articulate yourself while you're actually contemplating what you want to do and then do so in a way that's coherent is quite difficult. And I realized that both in life and in work, it's something that I think is a skill that I should have as I get older. It should be important to me. So I basically am of the logic now that if I play or make a let's play video and I practice this thinking out loud, um, it's actually a chance to grow myself and I get to play video games while I'm growing myself. Seems like a win to me, if you ask me. So even if no one watches this, I think it should be fun. And, posting it to YouTube is just a good way to audit myself. And if something comes out of it, then something comes out of it. And if not, if nothing comes out of it, no big deal. So yeah, with that, let's get into it. Yeah, so on the screen we have Subway Builder, the website. My understanding is this is actually a single developer game, which is quite cool if you take a look at it. It's extremely detailed. I did two starts. I did you basically so you can play as any real city, and then I guess they can probably mod non-real cities, but since it's taking actual real world data, I think it's always going to be real cities, right? So I did a Charlotte beginning, for example, and a New York beginning, just a couple lines for each. Totally different demand structures. Um, Given how Charlotte is a much smaller city and extremely spread out and everything, it does seem a bit realistic, right? It kind of makes sense why the US doesn't have transit because it was quite difficult. Then on the other hand, New York was so easy. Everything you do made money, which I think makes sense. But it was also extremely expensive to build, which also makes sense. So yeah, basically, I guess the beta came out in October of 2025, which is actually just a couple months ago. I didn't realize. Um, and now it's come out. Yeah, so they added the UK, and then I guess they're gonna do some improvements before going with a Steam release in the spring. So hopefully this is the first of a few series. Or I'll certainly be playing it whether I'm posting it or not. And yeah, so let's open up the game then. Let's go full screen. There we go. Go back to the main menu. And yeah, so the main menu is quite simple. Nothing too crazy. Right now we're in light mode. You can also go to dark mode. Um, you can change the colors if you want. I'll show you a bit more. Let's go back to light mode so we can change the intensity a bit. So let's start a game and then I'll show you because it's actually quite cool when you get in the difference between light and dark mode. I'll probably play in dark mode just because I think with my voice, most people will be going to sleep, unfortunately for me. Um, yeah, so you can see here we have the United States and we have some UK cities. I wanted to do London, but I think every YouTuber is going to do London. And I want to do something a bit different. I think New York would be cool. The problem with New York for me is a lot of people know New York extremely well. I've been to New York 5 or 6 times in my life, and I know it quite well. I can walk around, but I won't be able to name all the boroughs and all the street names off the top of my head. It will show you for sure. That's easy. But I think you guys deserve somebody who knows the area a bit better for New York. And we're also going to avoid some of these smaller cities like St. Louis. Again, because St. Louis has 1.9 million commutes per day that it's taking and calculating. And I did Charlotte, which was, I guess, 1.2, so quite a bit less. But the pace of the game was a bit slow. So I would like something that I don't need to chop up or simulate for a long time. So with that, I was actually thinking to go with San Francisco. It says conquer steep hills and the bay to link tech hubs with historic neighborhoods. I think it does have some altitude involved in it, but I'm not sure how much that's going to play into it. I've only done Charlotte in New York, and those are perfectly flat. So, I mean, the water does matter, of course, but in terms of the land, it's always at least appeared flat. So maybe this is an unknown issue, unknown challenge. So let's go ahead and give it a shot and kind of see where we end up. Um, yeah, because Seattle could be cool. I was in Seattle a couple months ago, San Francisco a couple months ago, and London most recently. But I think we'll do San Francisco. I just think it'll be cool. I kind of want to do Seattle though. Nah, but I know how Seattle is going to go. I already know Seattle too much. I think that if you look at their light rail, it's being built in the modern era. I think it's going to end up too similar to the actual reality versus something that's been built much further in the past. Not that San Francisco's that old, but um, I want something a bit different from reality. Well, we can do DC. Actually, I'm going DC. Let's do DC. I changed my mind. I didn't really plan this. I just was going to open it up. I thought I was doing San Francisco, but I didn't really confirm that. Okay, so here we are. You can see we have a ginormous map. Basically, every road that you can imagine is in here. You can see all the monuments. And actually, I realize I'm not that familiar with DC. I've only been once. There's Washington National. Yeah, so we can go ahead and change the mode here. You have light mode and dark mode. I kind of like light mode, but I know, which is rare, let's be fair. But I kind of think a lot of people are going to prefer dark mode, and I normally prefer dark mode. So I'd rather just stick to one, and I probably over time would prefer dark mode anyway. So let's do that. So to start the game, we want to take a look at demand. We have two types of demand. We have residents and residential demand, so basically where people live, and then we have workers, so the offices. And the game is relatively simple at its in the way you at least interpret this. There's a lot of calculations going on, and we can show you how complicated it actually is getting on the calculations. But at its core, your goal is basically to get residents to work and then back from their work to their residence. So any place that has lots of work, so the bigger the circle, the more demand there is. We want to connect with places that have a lot of residential. So we have here tons of residential. So I already see kind of our first line, right? So you can have a line come in here, then we switch over and then probably meander through and up. Yeah, and I've noticed for airports, it's treated as work. And there's unfortunately not as much demand as I would have hoped. I did check London briefly, and London Heathrow has a ton of demand. Um, but I realized that you're just gonna do the circle like the Piccadilly line does anyway. So yeah, I decided to pass on that one. Even though London would be cool. So yeah, I think this one is going to be interesting, or at least a good starting one, because it's at least how the game has set it up. I'm not sure how DC is actually. Again, I'm not too familiar with DC, so I'm basically treating this like a fantasy world, and I'm not looking at the DC Metro map. It's going to be a hub, and it's just going to be a central core, I think. Right, so it's how do we connect this core? We're probably going to do like an L shape or a loop or something in here, actually. So yeah, I think I got it in my head. I think basically the first line is just going to go through here. I would like to build a bridge or a tunnel, but I think that's going to be too expensive. So right here. Well, I think what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna come down, we're gonna start up here in the top with the residents, and we're gonna snake our way down to the workers, to the where the demand is, and then we're gonna hook and then maybe cut across. I I don't know if this is there subways in real life going underneath all these? I would assume so. And I think we'll just end it down here. This would also be nice. Oh, the Pentagon. That one I know. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So let's start building. So we go to the build menu. We have, well, actually what we can do is if we go to demand, you can actually go here and we can pin this. The opacity will go up a bit or go down a bit so we can see through it. And now we can go to the build menu and start to build. Okay, there we go. So you have two options, at least in the base game. You have, in the current form, you have heavy metro, which is based on the New York City subway, and then you have light metro. And basically, what I can say from the two times that I tried starting, on Charlotte, I went ahead and I started with a heavy metro, thinking that, oh, this is the most demand route. They fit about 1,200 people. It does allow some overcapacity, but I could not fill it. I just couldn't do it. It was extremely expensive to build and extremely expensive to operate, and I just barely broke even, and that was only after I had built a much smaller light metro, which fits about 400 people in its smallest form and is significantly much cheaper to build. So while I think this is a bigger city, I feel like I'm gonna go with the light metro. Otherwise, we might be stuck for a while. But also, the heavy metro would be cool. I mean, I think we can go with the heavy metro. I think it's a high risk. We might get stuck, and I might be having to fast forward while you do it. Uh, while we wait for the money to grow, but I think it should be fun. Especially now that I realize I don't know what the name of the street is. We can just zoom in here. 16th Street. I'm sure it's a famous street. If you come over here to the elevation, right? So if you're underneath buildings, naturally you would need to do, build a subway using tunneling with a tunnel bore machine. But historically, especially the older subways were actually built with a cut and cover method. So basically, you would just dig out the entire ditch, place the track down, build a station, and then cover that up. And that can still work in where we have a street. I'm trying to think in real life. We actually have this in Frankfurt. They're building the is it the U6? I think it's called. I forget what it's called. But basically, yes, it's the giant street was underneath a cut and cover for a few years, where they tore up the entire street, built the subway, and then they've covered that back up with a bunch of nicer roads and trees and all that stuff. So I'm seeing this ginormous boulevard. You'll see that it's one-time cost to do cut and cover right here. But if we start doing a standard tunnel, it costs twice as much. So on that basis, I think we have an opportunity here to build a cheap subway, and I think we should go for it. I think we're gonna like it long term. There's no guarantee, but we're gonna go for it anyway. So let's go ahead and put down that first station. So we have station on, heavy metro, parallel tracks. Let's go ahead and make it 9 meters just on the basis in case we need to switch to go underneath buildings. So these buildings might actually have, foundations that go into the ground. So we might need to dig a bit deeper. And we just want to make sure that we can quickly drop low enough to a standard tunnel boring process if we need to go under some buildings. So with that, we just left click, we can drag. If I don't like it while I'm dragging, or I decide I want to do something else, I can right click and it will go away. But yeah, left click and drag. Drag that down. We have our first station in place. I'm moving around by clicking left click and dragging. let's go ahead and build one here at Irving. And you actually can then now click on the station. I'm not sure the scale of DC. So let's close this. We can click here. We can actually see that we're in feet. We are in America. I operate in meters these days. That's fine. Do it in, I think we'll do it in feet, just because this is Washington, D.C. But you can also see here, so the original station is Meridian Plots, or place, wrong country. And it's 3,000 feet away, and it's a 15-minute walk. I think for us, that's going to be fine. That's a good metro distance. It really depends on where we're building. In this case, I think, given that if we go back to the demand, we have strong demand here, big circles under each. I'm not sure how it fills in the gaps here. I'm kind of operating on the assumption that you really want to be close to that circle. I think a 15-minute walk is plenty. I don't like anything more. I've been to some former Soviet cities. I mean, sometimes it's 20 minutes walking between the stops, and I just think that's too much. To be honest, I want people to ride this every day. Um, Even if it could go high speed, right? Because we are on a straightaway, but now let's it gets cold in DC, so let's look out for the people. I wish it did have a scale though. It would be nice if it had a scale somewhere. Does it have a scale? We go to map layers. Does not have a scale. Let's turn on the sound. There's no sound currently, but there is no scale. So that would be nice if they could add like a scaling feature here, like on Google Maps. Okay, let's go ahead and down to Florida Ave. Let's build another station here. Let's go ahead down to Concordia, Corcoran, and Church Street. Do we want to turn? This is going to be a branch spot, I think, because it would be nice to make a turn here and go down here. We can basically make that turn without having to cut off buildings, because let me show you. If we build tracks now, and we're not very deep, right? We're only 9 meters deep and we're doing cut and cover. You'll see here that we actually have to demolish these buildings. Here it's okay, right? It's not skyscrapers, so it's not too expensive, but obviously as a new transportation company or government, we would like to not destroy the homes of civilians, primarily for their well-being, but also because it's expensive. Let's switch to the workers. Okay, so this is going to be eventually a branch spot, so I would like to put the station a bit below it. I think we might have to redo the stations a little bit later. I'm going to try to refrain from doing that. I kind of like the idea that once you build it, you're kind of stuck with it. None of this is built, by the way, right? This is all, we're building what they call blueprints, right? So we can see if we want to build it, it'll cost 300 million for our stations. I think it's 100 million each. Yeah, so 3 stations, 100 million. And this basically lets you build the entire line, see how much it's going to cost, and then we can decide if we want to build it or not. Um, hmm. We're gonna have to go deeper. Oh, actually, we can go here. Nah, there's nothing there. Yeah. Hmm. I'm also not sure how. I think the pedestrians actually move along the street, so I'm not sure how they would access here, to be honest. Unless you put the station directly under it, which I don't seem deem to be very realistic. Um. Yeah, there is some demand for the White House. Let's see. Hmm. Being a bit undecisive here. I think we go. Yeah, you can't build a metro under the White House. Hmm. I'm trying not to do it. I'm treating it somewhat like a fake city, but also like I just can't build it underneath there. It just feels weird. So I'm trying to think. I mean, we can just dig deep. That's fine. I kind of wanted to avoid that, but I think we're going to have to do that. So first, let's map this out. So let's go ahead and build this track down to here, right? So we get past this intersection. Let's do that. That should be fine. And then let's go ahead and build a deep level station. So now we're switching to tunnel boring. Let's shimmy over a little bit. All right, so it's going to slow down a little bit. Is this deep enough? Yes, okay. And now let's build a station here. Let's go ahead and connect these so we don't get confused on depth. I have noticed on the game it's a bit difficult to keep track of the depth of tracks. So I think while New York is very easy up front, eventually once you have a bunch of trains crisscrossing over each other, it's going to get quite difficult. And you can hear, as you zoom in, you hear some people. Um, so I would highly suggest you try to keep the depths as consistent as possible on the line, just because it's kind of hard to go check where it's changing in the map. So let's go ahead and connect this up. There we go. Let's go back to cut and cover. I think we're going to end it down here. Is there any reason not to? Let's check residence. It could end. Yeah, let's end it here. So let's go ahead and put a station in here. Is there any workers down here? Nope. Build stations. Okay. Build here. I think this will be another, maybe a little branch. I guess we'll try to connect it here and see if it gets any catches, any in the catchment area, but I'm not optimistic, to be honest. Unless the green space is a park that they can walk across, and to which so it's great. But I don't know if the game factors in that you can just kind of theoretically walk there. Let's take a look. Build tracks. Let's build down. Go here. It's a bit tough to build a really long, sharp, uniform curve, I've noticed. And there's a building there that we will somehow get through. Okay. And now, can we just link this up directly? Oh. I feel like I should know what this building... Oh. Oh, how deep do we have to go? Was this going to be enough? Yeah, it's enough. Okay, so let's dig a little bit deeper. That should be good. And now we can go back up to the tunneling. Oh, cut and cover, I mean. There we go. That has been connected. Do we want a station here? No, I don't want a station here. Why do you not want a station here? Because it's a highway. Is there really a highway there? I see. I think one will come out here. We could do that. We could have a branch line already. Let's build this a little bit more this way. Okay. Now this can go. Yeah, it's not, it does not like it. Yeah, and this can go around like that. Great, let's check the cost. We're looking at 1.1 billion. Let's go ahead, residents. Oh, there's a lot of residents there as well. Let's go ahead and put our last station. So we're going to go ahead and already build a branch line because ultimately we're going to go across the bridge for sure. But we'll just start this as a little branch. So we'll run 2 trains with 2 lines. Let's go ahead and build that. Let's build tracks. Okay, that's built. And then let's go up here and connect these. All right, so all the tracks are connected. Let's go ahead and check the cost. 1.3 billion. We already have a little branch in the south. And in the north, we don't. I kind of want a branch in the north. Is there somewhere we can do a branch, like a short little branch out? I'm not seeing it. I think here. It would have been here. Yeah. Um, no, I'm not feeling it. Do I want another branch? So let's go ahead and build this, right? So we can see it's kind of all unhighlighted or it's very lightly colored. Now let's go ahead and click build. It's now darkened to show that we've built something or that the piece is built. I want another branch line. I'm not sure where I can put it. I think we'll build it here. It'll be a short run. Because then I think eventually we can always make another line, right? Because if we look at workers, yeah. Let's go ahead and build a branch out this way. Yeah, see, this is why you want to get it. You need to be really careful on the elevation because there is a tool for elevation, track elevations. It does work, but as soon as you have a line over this, so once you set up a line, then it'll show you all the different lines that you have in the colors, in the various colors you pick. You won't be able to see this actually. And also, we're going to switch to meters because I realized that the elevation tool is forced to be in meters, even though we've set it to imperial. So let's go ahead and switch. Where do I change the settings? We're going to turn off imperial units. Sorry to the Americans and potentially British. Yeah, just because, and it's not very detailed either, so it's not going to help you. Yeah, so this really needs to be fixed because you can see here there's a 0.01 meter elevation gap, and it's not going to work. But we only have intervals of 10 meters, so that's not going to help us in any meaningful way. Let's take a look here. 0.2. Are you gonna let me build at all? Let's go ahead and turn this off. This is frustrating. Hmm. We didn't go very deep. See, this is the problem. You got to keep track of it. Let's go ahead and yeah, okay, so it's an incline here. I don't want this incline. Let's go ahead and delete this. Delete that. Let's go ahead and build tracks 9 meters. Now nice and flat. Now we can build off. This is now going to be a very sharp corner. Oof. Okay, this is going to waste money. This is why I should have built the whole thing. But alas, we are too late. What's that going to look like? It's not great, but it is a metro. And let's go back to cut and cover. Reconnect that. Let's check workers. Is a decent amount of workers there. I want to put the station here, though. No, you don't, because you're going to go turn up the street. You're going to turn that way. A DuPont circle. Actually, remember DuPont circle? And do we want one more? That's going to be super close. Let's build that here. How far is that? Exit out of construction menu. Mintwood Place to Connecticut Ave is... It's still 11-minute walk. But we could almost do an English Northern line where it connects back up. Do we want to do that? Do we really want to go up this way? I don't think we do. I think actually... So this is why we have blueprints. Let's go ahead to the build menu. Let's delete Mintwood. Let's delete Connecticut. I'll show you why in a second. I think I would like to go up. So, and this might also branch in the future, but let's build the station here. So now we have the option to go up here, and we also now have the option to go over here, which I think I would prefer to go to be honest. One last station here. And now let's go to track building. Let's connect up this to DuPont Circle. Is that going to give me a nice bend? No, it doesn't like to do, it likes to S-bend whenever possible. And that's a bit unfortunate. I don't think that's necessary. Also with the arrows. Just gonna snake our way down Connecticut. Let's try to do that with a little bit more speed. So let's actually get a little bit of a wider turn coming in there. I think if we go out here, it's gonna have a little bit. I don't like that bend, but it's fine. Now you went too far. Yeah. Go back. I don't like this. Sorry. Let's see. Here. Good enough. No piece here. And you're going too early. You did it again. All right, hang on. Right. There. It should be early enough. No, we can really cut that corner. Sorry, I don't know why I'm messing this up so much. Okay, really early. Yeah, there we go. 36. I'll take it. And then... Do we want to go outside? We can go to ground, but I don't think so. I don't know what's here. I assume it's a park, and probably best not to have a train in the park. So we're going under the creek. And have a nice little shallow bend. And now we have our branch line done. All right, so now we have 2 branches on both sides and a central core. I think I'm okay with that. How much is that going to cost me? Only 380 million. I'll take it. Honestly, I'm very happy with this. Let's go ahead and build. Let's go ahead and close this map layers. Okay, so now we can go ahead and put our first route in. Oh, actually, now that I remember, We actually need to make a crossover, so basically a way for the train to turn around. Now, what's a little bit weird about this game currently in its current state, as far as I know, I've always had an issue. Um, if we add the crossover here, so basically the train would, pull up, come from Irving Street to its terminus in Meridian Place, and then it would, pull into the station. And then a lot of times, like if you're in Amsterdam, for example, right, at Amsterdam Central, there's nothing behind. The train cannot go any further. It's a proper terminus. And then, it just backs out down the line the other way. But on this game, I'll show you, that's not possible, unfortunately. It actually needs to go past the station, which does happen on a lot of metros, don't get me wrong. If you go to the end at Iselotterweg in Amsterdam, for example, usually they actually go to the back behind the station and then they come back up. So it is realistic in a way, but it's also, not realistic to not have that. So I'll just show you. So let's put another crossover in. Let's go ahead and build those. And now if we go to route builder, let's make a new route. Let's call this the A line. Now let's call it the Amsterdam does everything in the 50s. New York does it in letters. I think we do. Oh, but London also has stuff related to the historic eras. Do we want to do something like that for here? Okay, I think we do. I mean, it is in Washington. I mean, that's like the Lincoln Monument and stuff like that. But let's just give it, the Truman line. I guess we'll name everything will be named after a president, right? Um, maybe we have 40 something lines and every single president gets named, but let's see. I hope we're not planning on to save that long. And let's go ahead and create the route. So you create the route, but then you need to click on it again, and then you hit edit route, and now we can start building a line. So basically we click on P Street, a short name for a street. And if we click here, it's actually working. That's, yeah, okay. Okay, so let's add Meridian Place, so the terminus, and it's working, okay. So I guess you don't need to have the turn. I tried before, and on 2 saves, I actually had to build out here and then build a little turn point. I guess now it's working, so I'm happy about that. So please ignore my fair warnings. The nice thing about this game, I don't know if you've played Transport Fever or anything like that. Unlike Transport Fever, where you actually need to place the tracks in order, so you need to go, click, 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 all the way up to the terminus, and then come all the way back down, otherwise it gets weird. This game is actually quite smart. So I can already go ahead and click both sides of the station, right? I want to go in both ways. And if I go back to the old station, I Street, First Street, you'll see that it's already stop number 2 and stop number 4. So it is actually updating automatically. And here it's now 1 and 5, which would mean it basically just pulls out and pulls back in. That's actually a very long distance without a stop. I kind of want a station here. Let's go ahead and build a station. Can I build directly on? Yes, I can. Go ahead and build a station there, and then now let's build a track. There we go. So that has been built. We can go back to our routes. T Street, First or I Street. It looks like it's hard to tell if that's a Roman numeral or the letter I. Pennsylvania Ave. F Street. Are they really named like this in Washington? And so we're just going to click through for the first line. Up to Irving. And we end at Meridian. And if we just pick a random stop, you'll notice that B Street, for example, is a stop number 2 and stop number 16 on the route. So it's automatically recalculated that, so we don't need to click all the way through and do it in order. You can do that, so you can do manual route ordering if you would like, and then that will be much more like Transport Fever, where even though it makes no logical sense, the game does not care. It might go back and forth 100 times if that's the order you clicked it in. But for us, I think since we're just building a simple up-down line, we don't need to do that right now. We can just let the game do it automatically for us. So let's go ahead and confirm the changes. You can now go to the train menu. We have metro trains, so capacity per train is 1,200. We can increase it in intervals of 5. And if you notice here at the operational cost, it's actually more efficient to run, a double length train than to run 2 separate trains. So 275 versus 365. I'm not sure how frequency is really playing into it, but having lived in many cities now, I don't like any frequencies under 10 minutes, especially during peak time. That's not going to be tolerable. And given that we basically are kind of at this current stage of the game development, we're stuck with one train length for the whole time. We're just going to keep it as short trains. Because I want frequency, at least until the line is overloaded. I'd say we'll do no night demand. Actually, we'll do night demand just to see if it catches anything. Do 2 trains during high demand. Yeah. So that's the Truman line. Okay, that one's done. Let's go ahead and do the second branch line. New routes. So we did a Democrat. I guess now we need to do a Republican. I'm gonna avoid Lincoln since he already has a ginormous monument. I think at least we'll do the Lincoln line when it goes through the Lincoln Monument. That's because I wanted to name the first one Lincoln, but we'll avoid that. I think that needs to go through his monument. I guess the first Republican that comes to mind is Reagan. We'll do the Reagan line. We'll create that route. And actually, let's make it a red. Oh, no, wait. Actually, no. Because I think long term, since it's branch lines, they're going to have the same colors. Nah. Yeah, let's see. So it's going to be red. Do we want to? No, I think actually what we're going to do is this will be blue. Right? For a Democrat. This is a terrible idea to have name stuff like this. And this will be Kennedy because they're branches of each other. And then we'll do another line and it'll be named after 2 Republican presidents and it might have branches as well and they'll be red. And then eventually we're going to have to come up with some other ideas because obviously 2 colors is not enough. So let's see. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh. This was the Truman line that exists. Yeah. And this is now going to be the Kennedy. Reagan will wait. Yeah, so like for example, we might have another line that comes through here, the Lincoln Memorial, and then it could be like the Lincoln line, and then a branch could be like the Reagan line or something. I think would be cool. Hopefully without offending anybody. Not that anyone's going to watch this anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant, at least for now. Okay, so let's go ahead and build the Kennedy line. We're going to start at Garfield. Go down Connecticut, both directions. No valid path found. Oh. So we did not build a crossover. Go ahead and build that crossover. You can see it here. And let's go down to 6th Street, build that crossover. You can see that crossovers are actually quite expensive. It's costing me 30 million to build 2 crossovers, so do bear that in mind if your money starts getting low. Please make sure that you made enough money left over in case you forget your crossovers, because it will be a pain in the butt if you have to wait with a finished line but very little income. Okay, now we can build the Kennedy line. Edit routes. Oop. Yeah. I like branch lines. I don't know. The thing is, it's unfortunate if you're on a branch line, but they do look cool on a map. I would like to make this bigger just to make it a bit easier in case anyone needs it bigger, including myself, the text and all that, but I don't believe we can scale that. Let's confirm changes. Okay, we now have the Kennedy line. Let's do the same. Let's go ahead and do 2, 1, 1. It's every 14 minutes, every 30 minutes. A bit much. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We have 1.15 billion left in the bank. We can zoom out here. We can see our initial starting map, or starting transport map. I think it's pretty cool. One thing I really like about this game is you can see from the map like all the connecting stations, right? So of course here these are on the same line, so of course they're connecting. But what's also nice is the box is a bit small that you have to do it within, but 2 stations that are quite close to each other will actually be considered as a single unit, essentially. I'm not sure how it works if the stations are like a block over. Then it usually seems to not consider them to be a connecting station. At least it doesn't show you the icon for it. But I'm not sure if that allows for connecting passengers or not. It's something we can explore. But I think it looks nice to start. We're definitely going for some aesthetics on the look. And again, really trying to avoid looking at the DC Metro map. I think that would be defeating the whole purpose. But also, I'm so clueless on DC. So the thing about New York is, well, I'm not very good at knowing all the names and stuff like that, to the point that someone from New York will definitely make fun of me. I can walk around New York and just know where I'm going. And I felt like it kind of ruins it a little bit. Like I kind of want to play it in a little bit on a fantasy vibe, right? And just see how my fantasy take compares to the real world. So like at the end, we can compare the map of this to the actual DC Metro map and take a look. I'd be quite curious to see where that ends up. But yeah, let's go ahead and start the simulation. Hit play here. We see our first train on the line. I think the first one is starting down here. Yep. They're actually starting opposite ends of each other. We can open route ridership. We can see that there is no lines active currently. It's 12 a.m. Let's go ahead and fast forward because I don't think we're going to get any riders, to be honest. You can see them going down the line. Yeah, let's go ahead and fast forward quite quickly. Oh, we have passengers. So those little red dots are actually passengers getting on and off the train. So you can kind of see where they're actually ending up. So if they, let's see if we can catch another one. Yeah, so you see this passenger was walking in from the station from over here. He really walked far. So it kind of gives you an idea of the distance that they're willing to go. Of course, there's a bigger preference and willingness to take the train. versus walking or using driving if the stations are close. So it is a start, but you can see we do have a big catchment area. We're now entering rush hour before work. Is this train too full? Why is this red? Hello, sir. Let's take a look. Are you full? No? Okay, so it's just a load, but it's not full. Take a look at the... Go ahead and speed it up. At least 2 times speed. It's so slow when it's on 1 time speed. I think it's a nice line. We can actually go to the train overview and see all our trains. Unfortunately, most of the stuff you cannot pin, so you can't have like a ton of stats available like you do on Transport Viewer. But I'm sure these things will be added in time. Yeah, so it doesn't look like our trains are very full. And it's 6:40 in the morning. I think it should pick up a little bit after 7, so between 7 and 9 should be quite busy. Well, let's ultimately, let's wait and see. Oh, why are you guys bunching up? Yeah, you had to slow down there. I don't think we can unbunch them, that's the thing. Yeah, they're very bunched up. I don't know why either, because these are pretty similar lengths. This is a bit, no, this is a bit shorter, I think, right? But it's not straight, so the trains might be going a bit slower, although there's 3 versus 4 stops. So it does seem like they're bunching up, which we cannot fix as far as I know. Okay, now they've separated a bit. Yeah, okay. Separated, so that's fine. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward quite a bit for a couple minutes and just kind of see where we end up. Let's just finish the first day and then I think we'll call it. I mean, you can see people are going quite far out there. I mean, that's if this is like a 10-minute walk, I believe, from 12th to L Street, right? It's a 12-minute walk, and you got people walking. Come on, someone did it. Wow, you walked all the way out there. You might as well just take the train. Yeah, I mean, they walk a pretty long distance, so they're walking at least 15 minutes, some of these people. Some of these people are coming from quite a far ways out. It doesn't look like it's much more than that distance, though. Oh, that person's 30 minutes? I've been there. Ooh, this guy's probably like 40. Okay, so the catchment area is quite big, so let's keep that in mind that we don't want to build too close to our branches. I think, especially since we don't seem to be able to fill our trains, we will need to keep that in mind. We're probably going to want to build a bridge across. The question is, how do we afford that? Or a tunnel, I should say. It is a bridge. Because can we see the depth of this? Only minus 8 meters. I don't necessarily believe that, but I honestly don't know. Okay, so it's 8 p.m. Maybe we'll just go ahead and do the second day just to kind of get the unbiased view on the financials, which I will wait until we hit midnight. So we have one 24-hour period. How the train's doing? Not great. I don't think we're gonna run night trains. Can you name the trains? You cannot name the trains. Oh, it's 1 a.m. Okay, let's take a look at the financials. So we made 19 million in revenue. We have 13 million in expenses. So we made 6 million. It's not, oh, we didn't purchase any trains. Okay, and it's not including the construction costs. I mean, it is operational profits, but it's a bit weird that train purchases and construction are in here. So we're actually making some money. Now it tapers off in the evening. It's not great. So I think we're gonna make one change. So just for understanding, 6.24 million is what we did this time. Let's go ahead and simulate one more day. But this time we will remove the night trains. Let's just go ahead and get rid of the night trains on both lines, and we will simulate one more day. They should disappear from the map when they get to the terminus. There we go. And now we have a nice silenced time to wait. I think this game is quite fun. I mean, I think DC will be a bit harder than New York, but I also think it's not going to be particularly easy if we want to build a big network. Especially, I think this, to be honest, is if you want to play on realism, would be insanely difficult. You just kind of want to build what makes sense in real life. But I still think it's a fun city regardless. I mean, we got that giant river there. It is a bit weird working with bridges that already exist because you can't really kind of latch onto them. So let's see how that goes. But I think basically, yeah, just one line of video, maybe like 5 videos. This is already hitting almost an hour, so I think that one line is plenty. Wow, and I just noticed people are coming from quite far out in the north. Wow, it's they must be driving. Is there a road up there? No, they're driving. Wow. Let's see, 6 p.m. Almost there. It is a bit, and the other thing is, so if you play on a smaller city, you're not going to generate that much cash, and we're not even generating that much on here versus probably like I'd imagine you would for London, where you can make tens of millions in the first day on one line. So there isn't really a way to fast forward. So there is that. You do end up kind of waiting a bit. So you do, in a way, just for playability, for your own sake, tend to want to play on a bigger city. Okay, so this is basically done. There's actually not going to be any cost. So if there's no train, there's no cost. There's no like standby cost. And I think we stopped at like 1 a.m. last time. Let's go ahead and get this hour in. And then I think we can take a look. and wrap it up. So 6.9, so we increased it by 750,000 roughly, if I recall correctly. I think that's good. So we're not going to run any night trains, to be honest. At least for now. I don't really see a purpose in it. Maybe we'll do like an airport line at night. No, they do have, is Dulles in? I assume this is Dulles. This is not Dulles. I knew that. Where is Dulles actually? That would be Dulles. I think this is out of range. Let's double check. It is not out of range. Wow. Wow. Okay. We made these little dinky lines and we can go all the way out there. Wow. Okay. What's this? I don't recognize this airport. Wow, okay. That's yeah, so we spent almost 2 billion out of our three, and we just have one dinky line that branches. And we did cut and cover. So we didn't even tunnel properly. That's gonna be quite difficult to build out to. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of money. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's a cool game. I think there's a lot of potential. I think you can build some crazy networks. The one challenge will be a bit of the waiting game. We can only get a bond of 100 million. It's not really going to help us, right? That's just one metro station. So it'll be tough. It'll be interesting to see how we can actually kind of build out there. Because ultimately, I would like to see a proper big network. But I'm not sure how we're going to do it. We got the core started. I think next time we'll build another core line. Probably, I'm thinking down through here, along the bridge, under the Lincoln Memorial, so the Lincoln line. A little bit further south. Yes. Actually, no, I think we'll connect here at the station, continue on, and then hook down or hook up. I'm not sure. The bridge will be a challenge, but ultimately, let's save that for next time. So I think with that, we can wrap up the first episode. Hopefully you enjoy it. It was way longer than I thought it would be. I was expecting no more than a half hour, but especially I think on the first one, you really just want to figure out what you're building, get an idea down. You want that first route to look nice and make sense. You're going to have to look at it till the end of time, right? Until you finish the save. I mean, you could delete it, but I think that defeats the whole purpose. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm quite happy with that. That's a good start. It's a fun little shape line, and let's see where we go next time. Thank you.